Obviously, we've lost some games here, right? So we want to change that culture to a winning culture. That's why we coach and that's why we play. I think I don't want them to feel, even though we haven't won yet, I don't want them to feel sort of mentally defeated, if that makes sense. Because that's where the slippery slope comes in, right? If you feel like you're going into a game where you don't have a chance, then you're not going to have a chance. You're not going to give yourself an opportunity to win that game. So that's what I mean by that culture there.
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your hosts Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Jeff Lageman, and Dylan Denmark.
All right, good morning, everybody. Fat Tony's got the day off on assignment, whatever you want to call it here. Dylan's opens this week are like a good zone running back. One cut and go, baby. That's it. We call a soundbite a cut around these parts in radio parlance. Pockets, how did the Baldwin-Wilson matchup go last night?
Man, we got the dub, 42-0. Got in, got out, and I won some money. I won $5.
Not gambling on Baldwin?
No. We had a bet up top of the coaches, and he said this running back, we put a D lineman at running back.
Oh.
And he said he would fumble. I said, he'll get 7 yards. He got 4. And he gave me $5.
All right, well, he gave you $5. It seems like that was a push, but that's all right. Did you give Hacker holy heck over your squad beating his alma mater?
No, I didn't. I took it easy.
Man,
I just like, hey, man, it's Wolfson.
I have not raised you right. All right, let's go across the pond. We got our man Jeff Lageman standing by. It is 10 o'clock in Jacksonville. It is 3 o'clock in London. Logs, good afternoon to you.
Yeah, good afternoon to you and Pockets. You guys doing good?
We're, as well as can be expected. Just catch us up.
Yeah, exactly.
Like nobody's like, it's a weird question, right? Hey, people call you on the post game. How you guys doing? We're okay. We're not on, death's doorstep here, but same time, nobody's exactly brimming with joy. But Logs, just give us a little detail on what you've been doing since the game ended. Like, what has your London experience been this year since the game wrapped up?
Well, I am in central London, and the team is out on the outskirts of London at the Grove, which is kind of like it's kind of a remote place that's got a golf course, and the team has basically every room booked, I think, at the Grove for staff and players, et cetera. And they've got a practice field and everything out there. And I've stayed out there with them before, but it gets a little boring. There's not a whole lot to do. And I'm not a golfer. I know you are, and you would probably love it because you could play golf every day. And my wife and daughter are coming into London today with my in-laws, so we're going to be able to enjoy London for a couple days before the Jaguars' second game in London here.
All right, yeah, I did go. The one time I went on the London trip with the team, I stayed in the Grove, and it is a spectacular place. They didn't exactly encourage like the 50th guy on the radio totem pole to bring his clubs, though. So I didn't get the opportunity to pack my sticks on that occasion, Logs. But nevertheless,
yeah, and I'll spend some time. I'll be out there this week, for the practices, and I'll just commute back and forth for that. And then Thursday, obviously, we have our still full slate of broadcast duties with the Jaguars Happy Hour, the Doug Peterson Show, Jaguars All Access. We still have all of that stuff, and so I'll be able to spend some time with the team on Thursday. Probably tomorrow for a little bit as well, to kind of get the feel for the game, but. In the meantime, I've been in London and staying here and just really got kind of a head start on next week's game and attack that a little bit, just, knowing that I'm going to have some time to spend with family while we're here in London and instead of just sitting around staring at walls,
Understood. All right. Well, let's get to some on and off the field stuff with the Jags, and we'll go kind of in reverse order. Yesterday, we found out the team has agreed to trade Roy Robertson-Harris to Seattle for what turns out to be a 2026 sixth-round pick from Seattle. So not next year's draft, the year after that. What is your reaction to that deal?
I'm not surprised, just because there were rumors that they were trying to trade one of the defensive linemen at the roster cutdown date. A little surprised that it's happened now. And here's the reality. You're not getting a whole lot of production out of that position as a whole. But to be honest, the guy that's probably been the most productive has been Roy. So I'm a little torn in that, look, 3 years ago, you ended up assigning him to an extension that gave him a lot of guaranteed money when you didn't have to, when he still had another year left on his deal. I thought that was a little bit premature. And then to trade him away, I think it's a salary dump. And I guess you like your other defensive tackles better, but to be honest with you, watching them play, there really hasn't been a whole lot to impress. And so, I mean, right now that position is just average at best. I would say below average. And Devon Hamilton, who is your highest paid guy in there, we signed a 3-year, $34.5 million contract back in 23, is not playing well. I think you got to seriously consider doing some different things there. So he's not playing well. Your second round pick, Mason Smith, is not doing much there at all. Otomewo, who defensive coordinator Ryan Nielsen talked in the preseason about how much he liked him, and I don't see it. I mean, early in that ball game, if you'll remember, there was a long run that Chicago had, and Otomewo was up the field. I'm like, what are you doing? So, anyway, it just hasn't been very good. So, yeah, the trade did surprise me a little bit, but then at the same token, it didn't. So now you've traded two guys to Seattle at the conclusion of preseason, Travis Gibson, and you got a 6th-round pick in 25 for him, and then you traded Big Roy, and you got a 6th-round pick in 26. Kind of peanuts, really, for both players.
Well, and, I think a lot of people see this maybe as the first domino to fall. Do you think Roy Robertson Harris, I know you said salary dump, if the Jags are 4-2, let's say they won the close ones and they still lost the games where they weren't close with Chicago and Buffalo, but they found a way to make a play here or there. Roy Robertson Harris had the same kind of season he's had up until now. If the Jags were 4-2, would they have made that move yesterday, in your opinion?
No way.
Right. So is this a team that realizes that at 1-5, the odds of going to the postseason are not great? You look at Roy Robertson Harris and say, well, even though we gave him that extension, he's not a vital part of our future ongoing. Let's get what we can for him. And if that's the case, do you expect to see more of these kind of moves potentially? Trade deadline's 3 weeks from today.
Yeah, I think it's twofold. One is that you're unloading some salary. I think two, that it's a position that you've got a lot of guys at, and to be honest with you, you're having a hard time figuring out who to even activate for game day. And I don't know how happy Roy was. I mean, that's also, I think, plays into that. And I don't know the inner workings of a locker room or inner workings of how relationships are on that football team. Because that's kind of locker room privy stuff. But, if a player's unhappy, then that may have had some type of influence in it. But I don't know if that was the case or not.
I would hope there are a lot of guys who are unhappy right now. It's one thing to be unhappy with your playing time. It's another entirely to be unhappy with the fact that this team has squandered so many opportunities early in the season and sit there at 1-5 logs. And, we're left with a situation where the head coach seems exasperated, doesn't understand, why it looks one way on the practice field and they're not able to translate that to game day. Have you ever been on a team that's had that issue that, throughout the week you think, man, we're preparing great, we got a great game plan, everybody's on their P's and Q's, and then you get to Saturday or Sunday and it just doesn't come together?
Well, it's really two different animals, when you really look at practice and you look at game day. Practice is it's work. I mean, it's, you put in the work, you put in the time, but, it doesn't have the emotion, and it doesn't have, you're not elevating your play for practice. I mean, the good teams are the ones that, go through practice and it's workmanlike, and you kind of pay your dues, so to speak. But then once you get to game day, you got the volume knob on practices at 1 and 2. But then once you get to game day, it's like Jekyll and Hyde, man. That volume button gets turned up to like 8, 9, and you got to be able to turn it up to, 8, 9 on game day, because the intensity goes up, the physicality goes up, the speed goes up, and right now they're not making that happen on game day. And they can sit there and say that they're having, great work weeks and all that kind of stuff. And, but here's the reality. I mean, we saw a football team that had one little bit of adversity in Miami and then just kind of crumpled. The home opener, they didn't come out with really any emotion or fire, it seemed like. And, get excited maybe for a national TV game on Monday night and you got thumped. And you got another opportunity here with a young quarterback on national TV, the only game on in the morning, you get thumped again. So, it's just, I don't know. If you're not turning it up for game day, it doesn't matter. You can have all the great work weeks you want, but man, you got to turn it up.
Oh, no question about it. They have not been getting that level of performance out of this football team this year. So we'll discuss the reasons why that may be and what are some of the remedies, if there are any, in the short term with the Jags getting ready to take on the New England Patriots coming up this week. Jeff Lageman is in central London, so you can have that kind of picture in your head if you know anything about London, which I've been there a couple of times, Logs. I really don't know anything about London other than it's got probably the craziest traffic of any big city I've ever been in. I don't know if it's still that way.
It's a big place, Mike. It's a really big place with a lot of people.
Right? But like you take your life in your hands when you're crossing streets over there. It seems like a lot of the street signs are just general guidance.
Yeah, and you got to be careful because, they drive on the opposite side of the road. So, you used to crossing the street in America, and you're looking a certain way, and you got to kind of pay attention when you're crossing the streets here. And then the other thing, too, when you're trying to learn your way around when you're in London, in America, we've got street signs, right? That are at the corner and they're up on the traffic lights at the intersection. And so, to kind of find your way around, you kind of look around. But in London, all of the road signs are like on the corners of the building. So they're not out on a street sign. They're not up on the lights, at an intersection or anything like that. So you got to kind of look around and find your way a little differently here. That's for sure.
All right. Well, be safe, at least for the next couple hours, Logs, and we'll see how many Jaguars questions we get that you can answer. And I'm sure you can answer all of them, maybe not to the satisfaction of every Jaguar fan out there. It is a Check the Tape Tuesday, so take advantage of Jeff Lageman joining us all the way from across the pond, 5 hours into the future, ladies and gentlemen. So today's Chad and Sandy real estate question of the day, as it is every Tuesday, is basically what do you want to know from Jeff Lageman? Send us your Jags questions. You can do that on the phone lines, the Garber Auto Mall phone lines at 641-1010, on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures at that very same number. You can hop in the YouTube virtual studio and post something in the chat there, or you can hit us up on the X platform on social media at MD_1010XL, at Logs56, or at 1010XL Denmark.
Ain't no laws when you're drinking claws, baby.
It was a big White Claw night at the Denmark residence last night, man.
Yes, sir.
After Baldwin goes roughshod on the Wolfpack last night. 42-0, is that the final?
Yes, sir.
Again,
Running
man.
clock, second half.
Woo.
Hour and a half game.
Running clock, second half. Holy smokes. All right. Well, going to have to talk to Hacker about what's going on with his alma mater one of these times.
I think that's why Tony's not here, too, by the way.
It may be, right? In morning, Tony is another alum of Wolfson, and Tony's on assignment today. So we got Jeff Lageman across the pond, and we will pose the questions you want asked. We're just getting started, but if there's something specific that you have in mind, you know the ways to get in on the program. On a Check the Tape Tuesday, Mike Dempsey in the States, Logs in London. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars
Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL. When you don't want to wait till tomorrow for analysis of today's game, get it 2 hours after the final whistle. Hacker, Leon, and Coach Campo bring you the window world of Northeast Florida fifth quarter. Presented by Von Rowan Law and Hurricane Grill and Wings.
Discover luxury storage life at The Shed, opening soon in Atlanta Beach, for a place to store your cars, boats, and toys. A place for an office, a golf simulator, or a man cave. AC and plumbing available. The list of premium uses is endless. Take a tour on Instagram or go to theshedjacks.com.
Did you know you can charge the all-new Honda Electric Prologue in the same receptacle as your phone? You don't need any special charging stations at your home. Simply plug in your Honda or your phone. See your local Honda dealer now. We're electrified.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Today's contestant, a gravy taster from Jacksonville, Florida, me, Dennis Mosley.
Hi, Ken.
Okay, Dennis. 100 plumbers surveyed, top answer on the board. What does it mean if someone says your home has hard water?
It's made of ice? Let's see. Hard water. Oh, is it club soda mixed 4-to-1 with vodka?
Last chance, Dennis. What is hard water?
Oh,
Is it that lime scale stuff that makes my taps all crusty?
That's right, Dennis. And a water treatment system from Bueller Air & Plumbing will eliminate troublesome lime scale deposits that can ruin your expensive appliances and let your neighbors know for sure that you are cool.
I wonder if I can get me a gin and tonic faucet.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Hello there. Brendan from Play It Again Sports here to congratulate all the parents for surviving another summer. The kiddos are back to school, and you know what that means? Sports are back. But don't fret. Play It Again Sports has the gear you need at prices worthy of excessive celebration. From sluggers and shooters to clappers and benders, Play It Again Sports can turn your kids into goats. Stop in today on Merrill Road near 295 or online at playitagainjacks.com.
Collisions happen on every play in football. Collisions also happen every day on the road. If you need auto body repair, from a $30 job to a $30,000 job, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
There's something special about football under the Friday night lights.
Clear eyes, full hearts.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists Friday Night Lights.
Presented by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning on 1010XL.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes, and I speak for everyone here at 1010XL when I say congratulations, Hacker. 100 pounds lost with a Wake 180 is a huge milestone, and we are so proud of you. Life-changing, life-enhancing. Awaken180weightloss.com.
Craving a cold one? Well, zip into one of the great gate locations you see all over town and pick up a cold Bud Light, or a Natty, or an Ultra, maybe a 12-pack of the King of Beers, or some cold Coronas. It's all happening at your local gate convenience store. Slide on in today.
Universal Roof and Contracting presents the Offensive Player of the Game. Universal Roof and Contracting. The difference is universal.
Evan Ingram had himself a day for Jacksonville against Chicago. The teal and black tight end recorded 10 receptions for 102 yards, with his longest reception going for 24 yards on what was an impressive showing. Ingram needed in his bestest suit instead of a jersey because he was simply on fire all game long. Evan Ingram is your Universal Roof and Contracting Offensive Player of the Game.
Rake in the savings this fall with Universal Roof and Contracting. Enjoy 15% off all roof repairs and replacements with financing options as low as $115 a month. Protecting your home has never been easier. Schedule your free roof inspection today. Call 855-ROOF-HELP. This offer expires October 31st. Protect your home and your wallet. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
UniversalRoof.com. Former Gator and Jaguars linebacker Mike Peterson and Mandarin standout and Gator cornerback Fred Weary will be inducted into the Florida-Georgia Hall of Fame. For tickets to the celebration lunch Friday, November 1st, go to GAFLJacks.com.
Find your why with membership at the First Coast YMCA. The Y has something for everyone at any age. Come try free access to your local Y every Wellness Wednesday this month. Check out our fitness classes, swimming, pickleball, youth sports, and so much more for free every Wednesday in October. Plus, we'll waive the join fee when you become a member this month. Get active, be social, live healthier, and discover all the benefits of YMCA membership at your local Y or visit fcymca.org.
Pickett here with my concierge doctor, Richard Townsend. Doc T, how does a concierge direct primary care operate?
We are a membership-based primary care made directly between the patient and physician. We'll have a limited amount of patients that allows us to give unlimited access and personal service to you. This individualized approach has been shown to lower hospitalizations as well as maintain healthier lives. We also give 24/7 access via phone to me outside of our scheduled office hours.
To learn more, go to mypvconcierge.com.
This is Walker Little of your Jacksonville Jaguars for Kingfish Pest Control. I've been a Kingfish customer for a while now and can confirm that their service is incredible. Not only do they protect my family from pests, Kingfish's office staff is the friendliest around. They even email me a photo of the tech before arriving at my home. Kingfish Pest Control is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Be sure to enter their Swat That Kick sweepstakes for free pest control for 3 years. Go to kingfishpest.com and tell them Walker Little sent you.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jeff Lageman Tuesday
is brought to you by
Napa Auto Care on 1010XL.
All right, Jeff Lageman in London, Mike Dempsey here in Jacksonville, along with Dylan Denmark. Fat Tony's got the day off. 641-1010 on the Garber Auto Mall phone lines. Already coming in for you, Logs. We'll get to them in just a second. I got to address one of the elephants in the room here, Andre Sisco's post-game comments to Brent Martineau about how he saw a lot of quit in his team when he was out there. Doug Peterson was asked about it. Said he didn't think he was pointing fingers. I don't know how that's not pointing fingers. Maybe not directly because he didn't name names, but I don't know of many worse indictments that you can say about a professional athlete other than they quit. What did you make of him making those comments, and are you seeing that when you go back and review the film of this game?
Yeah, and it's a great question. And I would say this, that, I've been there as a player, and you're frustrated, you're losing. Individually, you might have had a pretty good game. I think Sisco did have a pretty good game, and he's had some games this year that haven't been very good. So I get it. But at the same token, you gotta be able to interpret what's quitting versus what's not playing well. And I think there's a difference between the two of them. And I've been on teams, and I've seen teams that quit. They turn things down at the end of the game. The effort's not there. And I saw that where this football team had some moments where the effort wasn't there. And you could probably literally go to every game in the National Football League and say, look at this effort. Look how poor it is by this guy. Oh, he's quitting. You could probably cherry pick plays throughout a ball game and do that. So to answer the question, I don't think this team quit. I think they played very poorly on defense and very unaware on offense, and that's a shame. The part that I think that I also didn't like, first of all, I understand what Sisco, how frustrated he can be. I didn't like it because I think he's better than that, and I think he's more mature than that, because you don't ever want to say that about your players, in that situation, because, again, there is a difference between quitting and not playing well. Now, the other thing that was kind of a little bit, disappointing was, Doug Peterson at the end of the game talked about changing the culture. And I was like, well, wait a minute. The culture is kind of what you established as a coach. And I didn't like him using that term. And I think it was a mistake by him, kind of using that term, because I think the culture that Doug has been good. If you want to consider winning and losing culture, then okay, it's fine to use those words. But I think a little bit of a misstep by him using that terminology, because it can be misinterpreted very easily from what he said.
So what do you think that is a result of? Is Doug Peterson just exasperated? He seems to not have answers. When he gets up there, he's like, hey, I see one thing in practice. We prepare a certain way, and it doesn't show up on Sunday. And he seems almost at a loss for why that's happening.
Yeah, and it's frustrating. As a coach, sometimes as a coach, sometimes it's hard to put your finger on why. The team's not turning up the volume on game day. Mm-hmm. Why the energy and the excitement and the concentration is not there as it should be on game day. And sometimes that's a hard thing to figure out. Chemistry is a weird thing on a football team. Sometimes teams got chemistry that's very natural and it's easy to come by, and some teams don't. It's something that's got to be worked on. And right now, this football team doesn't have any chemistry. You listen to what Trevor said after the ball game. He said that we've got to, I think, stop being so sensitive to some negative plays in the ball game. And I think what he means by that is just, this team right now is not tough enough. They're not tough enough mentally, and I don't think they're tough enough physically right now to win ball games. And they better find a way to change it. Because, here's the reality. Everybody's jobs is on the line in professional sports. That's just the way it is and the way it's always going to be. And when people don't perform to a level that's expected, the reality is there's going to be change.
Yeah, Trevor used the word fragile in the postgame. We can't be a fragile football team, right? I knew what you were talking about. I knew exactly what you're talking about right there. All right, Alog, so let's get ready to go out to the Garber Auto Mall phone lines here. Folks have questions, comments, what have you. Let's see what your answers and reactions are with Mark and Yulee kicking things off here on Jaguars Today on a Check the Tape Tuesday. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning and good afternoon, Jeff. First, I have a point. This is the NFL. Jeff, you know better than anyone. Everyone in the NFL is a great athlete. There's never a situation where Alabama is playing Charleston Southern, for example, where they're just so much more talented that they cannot be stopped. Now, there's better players than others in the NFL, but they're all great athletes. You wouldn't be there unless you're a great athlete. So the difference between a really good player and an average player in the NFL isn't that great. But at times, especially on defense, it looked like Alabama playing Charleston Southern. So my question to you, Jeff, is there an issue with the scheme? Because there's definitely a disconnect somewhere.
Well, it's a great question, Mark, and I'm going to disagree with you a little bit in that, the difference between, an average player and a great player in the National Football League can be, dramatic. Some guys are just otherworldly with some of the skills that they have versus some of the other guys. But this football team, but I kind of know what you're trying to get at, and that, the difference between a bad team and the difference between a good team it's not that great. And it isn't, but it's also the performance of the players. For example, on great teams, you look at from a scouting standpoint, and you look at how the scouting departments will label players, and they kind of have a color code that goes to certain players. You've got red, which is a guy that's not very good. You got orange, is he's not playing well. Maybe a young player, you hope he develops, and then green is pretty solid. Yellow is a step below that, and then at the top is blue. So every team as a scouting department wants to have players that are in the blue, and good teams have, anywhere between 6 to 10 players, maybe if you're lucky, that are in the blue. And then you've got a pretty good amount of greens and some yellows, and you hope no reds. And right now this football team has got maybe one guy that's in the blue, which is probably Josh Hines-Allen consistently. Brian Thomas Jr. is fairly close to that. But the rest of the team is not playing to that level. And so until you get the performances that are better as individuals, as a team collectively, the results are going to continue to be the same. And it's the coach's jobs to try to get that out of them, to get improved performance, to give them awareness so that they can raise their color level, I guess you could say, to be a better football team. And, the thing that was disappointing to me, Mike, this past game, you're going in against the Chicago Bears, and you know what their deal is all about, okay? Good football team, great at taking the ball away. Charles Peanut Tillman, that's, kind of the history of that franchise. 11 takeaways, third in the National Football League. They're going to be punching it out. And there were 3 instances in that ball game that the ball was punched out. 3. And one of them was overturned because it was the ETN one, which was ruled that it wasn't a fumble. But, Evan Ingram punched out. Tank on a kick return punched out. And for me, when you're going into a game against a team that that does that, your awareness has to be protect the ball. But we put it on the carpet 3 times, because, in my opinion, lack of awareness. And that bothers me. And that, why are you not prepared to knowing that that's what they're going to do? And that was disappointing. Kind of same thing with the situation with Caleb Williams. He's going to scramble. He's going to extend a place. That you have to be assignment clean. Talked about it at the beginning of our broadcast. There were multiple instances in that game, and the one that comes to mind real quick was in which Caleb Williams scrambles out, and then he finds Cole Kmet on a late play. And then when Kmet caught the ball, you'll probably remember, Mike, I don't think there was anybody within 15, 20 yards.
It was unbelievable, man.
And you look at the play, and I'm pretty sure that Devin Lloyd was supposed to have man coverage. Devin Lloyd is on the other side of the field chasing a wide receiver that's already being trailed by one of the Jaguars corners. Dude, where's your awareness? You got to stay on your guy. You can't go chasing ghosts across the field. And it's just frustrating. You can probably hear a little of that frustration in my voice.
Well, let me ask you just quickly, and because we've got a bunch of calls we want to get to here, but when you talk about you got to be aware, right? I would assume the coaching staff is telling them, hey, man, this is a team that loves to attack the football. You got to protect it. You got to protect it. You would think that's being preached all week long, right? If it's not, that's a failure of the coaching staff. So who is this on? Is this on the coaches not doing a good enough job communicating the importance of this, or is it the players, or is it just one of those things that, hey, Evan Ingram understands that the guy just came in and made a hell of a play as Ingram's about 6 inches from being down, and the guy just came in with a perfectly timed punch? Who does that ultimately fall on?
Well, I think it's on both. number one, it's on the players, because I would be shocked if the coaching staff didn't coach that during the week and saying, hey, here's what this team is all about. But there's also a point of drilling it into the heads of people, you know what I mean? To where you're just, how when a coach gives you a message during a week, Mike, and head coach has like this talking point that he talks to a team on Monday or Wednesday, and then us in the media, we get to talk to the players on Wednesday afternoon, Thursday, Friday, and then after the game, and all of a sudden you hear them regurgitating the talking points that the coach gave to the team early in the week. I mean, that's what you want to have happen. And I just don't know if it's just not sticking. Is the message not there? Or where the interruption in concentration is, or the information? I don't know that, but it's definitely concerning, and because right now this team, I think, and especially this defense, the defense has a lot of mental bust and breakdowns that are just inexcusable. I mean, inexcusable as a defense, and their numbers show it. I mean, this defense was supposed to take a step up from last year, and if you look at them right now, I mean, heck, total defense 31, points allowed 31, yards against the pass 32, takeaways 29th, third down efficiency 25th, red zone 32nd, goal to go situation 32nd. I mean, there's has not been any improvement with this defense. And the one thing that this defense was able to do the last couple of years was take the ball away. And right now, this defense is not taking the ball away. You watch Chicago and how many times they're punching at the ball. I mean, have you seen our guys punching the ball out? We're looking to punch the ball out. I'm just not seeing the frequency of it that you see it with other teams, and that's got to change.
All right, let's get one more in before the break. Philip in Arlington's been hanging on. Philip, you're on Jaguars Today. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, how's it going, guys? Look, I've been a fan of this team since day one in 1995. I was 34 years old, man. I'm 63 now, and I know you guys are a few years younger, but I'm wearing out. If somebody said this first trade is just going to be a cascade effect, Jaguars start trading players, they do something stupid like trading ETN, man, I will start turning the games off. I started doing that with Gus Bradley. I'm tired of Peterson and his exasperation, man. I thought when they hired Peterson and we got the golden child, generational Trevor, they finally got it right. How did we get here, man? There are so many problems. But it took Flacco, a minute and 30 seconds to tie the one game up that we won? How do you fix this, man? You guys talk about it for a living. You tell me.
All right, Philip, thanks. Philip's obviously expressing a lot of frustration that we hear from a lot of fans. That's a pretty big question. Let's hold on to that one, Logs. We got to hit a break here.
Mike, let me just make one comment real quick. It wasn't a minute and 30. It was 87 seconds.
Right, just slightly under a minute 30, right? He got the game tied up. Just pour a little salt on that wound if you don't mind. 641-1010. How do you fix it? All right, when we come back, Jeff's going to fix everything for you for the Jacksonville Jaguars. A little unfair, but we'll discuss that and take more of your calls on the Garber Auto Mall phone lines. This is a Check the Tape Tuesday, Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Pella Windows and Doors. Love Pella. Got them in my house, replaced every window in my home, my sliding glass door. Everything came through all the recent storms beautifully. Why not? You've got great energy efficiency with Pella. You've got beautiful design. Your house is going to look good. It's going to help you feel good. It's going to keep you protected from the elements as well. Schedule a free consultation at PellaJacks.com if you're in the market for windows and doors for you, whether you're a homeowner or a professional design consultant or you name it. They're going to take care of all your window and door needs. Check them out at their showroom on Phillips Highway. That's Pella Windows and Doors.
Jaguars Today. You're at the home of the Jaguars in the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Do the Garber wiggle, Garber wiggle, 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 Garber wiggle.
If you're looking for a pre-owned vehicle with lifetime warranty, Garber Auto Mall can wiggle it. Best price, best payment, best trade-in value, Garber Auto Mall can wiggle it. With a huge selection of pre-owned vehicles, Garber Auto Mall can wiggle it. Visit us in Green Cove Springs or at GarberAutomall.com. And remember, at Garber Auto Mall, there is always a little room for wiggle.
Garber wiggle, Garber
Brackish Vodka, the official vodka of UNF Athletics, 100% made in Jacksonville, is available at all local liquor stores. Visit Browdy's, Total Wine, ABC, Shores, Golden, Sahara's, Golden Ox, and more. Drink our gluten-free San Francisco Spirit award-winning vodka and see why it's the smoothest vodka you can buy. When you drink Brackish Vodka, you support all of our local employees, and all the money stays in Jacksonville. Drink Brackish Vodka and live life slightly salty. Proud partner of the Jaguars.
Clean air, cool air, both are extremely important. Trust Florida Home AC to deliver on both with their Remy Halo, the next generation of air quality technology. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC and breathe clean and cool air.
Hey, gang, Prosser here to save you some cash. Maximize your home sale now with the market experts who deliver more money in less time, and those experts are Chad and Sandy Newman. Maybe you're worried about costly repairs or upgrades needed to sell your home. You don't have to worry. The worries are relieved with Chad and Sandy, the local real estate experts we are trusting and recommending with the sale of your home. Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. Mortgage rates are down. It's time to create your market. Marvin in Cobblestone writes, my siblings and I moved our parents to Maryland so they can get some extra help as they get older. Next, we had to sell the home to get them some financial help for their extra care. We hired Chad and Sandy, and they delivered big. Chad and Sandy's team got our home sold in 7 days above asking price. You can too. Call Chad and Sandy today, 904-414-6200, or go to chadandsandy.com. That's Chad, ANDSANDY.com.
Hey, Jacksonville Koozies, it's me, Soccer Sam, for Salvatore's Pizza. Rochester, New York's favorite pizza is now open in Jacksonville, Florida, Tapestry Park at the Loft Hotel Plaza. Daily $10 deals, dine in with beer and wine, and delivery at salvatores.com. The famous Formoso family brings Salvatore's Pizza, Rochester's favorite pizza, including our 32-piece sheet pizza for your next event. Go with me, baby. Salvatores.com.
It's about the hunt.
Captain Kevin Favor here with Captain Kirk and Jeff Lageman.
We take you from the water to the woods.
On the Nimnit Outdoors Show. Presented by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning.
Let's go to the woods, y'all.
Saturday mornings from 7 to 10 on 1010XL.
We love talking sports on 1010XL, and I9 Sports loves giving kids the perfect way to grow up playing sports. Fall and winter registration is underway. Log on to i9sports.com and see all they've got to offer. Kids 3 and up. You can enter 1010 in the promo code for a discount. Year-round sports all across the First Coast. St. John's, Duval, and Clay. Sign up now for fall and winter. Great locations added like Fort Family Field, Westside Middle, and Duval Charter Bay Meadows. It's all online at i9sports.com.
Former Jaguars corner and first-year head football coach at Duval Charter School at Bay Meadows, K-12, Aaron Beasley here. Are you looking for an A-rated K-12 school prioritizing academics, arts, and athletics? Duval Charter School at Bay Meadows offers a rigorous curriculum to develop strong minds with an additional focus on growing good hearts. DCSB has been an A school for 8 years, and our tuition is free. Now enrolling. Apply at baymeadowscharter.org.
Everything about the game has changed, except for the most important thing. What you have inside. It is what drives the game. It refuses to be ignored. It sweats every day, turns an athlete into a legend. Gatorade, is it in you?
From Gatorade Zero to Gatorade Endurance Formula and Gator Light, there's something for every athlete. Find it at your local Winn-Dixie. It's a win-win. Gatorade, official partner of the NFL.
If your IT, data security, and your office copiers are operating perfectly, you must have hired ABS, Advanced Business Solutions, as your technology partner.
Advanced Business Solutions.
Hello, this is Father Nicholas Lowe. I want to talk to you about picking the right battles to fight in this life. Every day, we have opportunities to get upset and angry. But I want you to realize that sometimes you have to ignore in this life so that you can soar into the kingdom of heaven. My encouragement, friends, to you is to pick the right battles to fight. Fight only battles that help you draw closer to God, because you have to ignore so that you can soar.
For more inspiration, log on to stjohnthedivine.com.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Jaguars head coach Doug Peterson with injury updates on running back Travis Etienne Jr. and right tackle Anton Harrison.
Yeah, Travis had a hamstring in the game. He's going to be week to week. He tweaked it on the go ball early in the game. And then Anton is he's day to day. He's gonna be fine. He got rolled up a couple times and just the pile and things of that nature during the game, but he should be fine. He's more day to day.
Trade news on Monday. The Jags traded defensive lineman Roy Robertson Harris to the Seattle Seahawks for a 2026 sixth-round pick. I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jeff Lageman Tuesday
is brought to you by
Napa Auto Care on 1010XL.
All right, checking the tape today with Jeff Lageman like we do every Tuesday. It's not pretty, but it is what it is. Log's in London. I'm here in Jacksonville along with Dylan Denmark. Fat Tony's on assignment. Jeff, before we go back to the calls, I mean, the question, what do you do to fix it, is a little broad, right? So let me ask this. Trevor on the X machine here on Twitter says, if the owner came to you, or anyone came to you and asked, what's wrong with the defense and how you can improve it in the short term, what would you say?
You just got to clean up the mistakes. I mean, that's priority number one. I mean, there's just too many mental mistakes, and accountability is always a thing, I think, with coaching. And that if players continue to make mistakes, then it has to affect their play time. And I think that's plain and simple. If you can't make the right decisions and you can't make educated decisions that you've been taught to do, then somebody else needs to play. And I think that's it's simplistic, but that's kind of what it's always been, and that always works, and not like you can find guys for poor play. I mean, obviously you can't do that, but you take away their playing time, and that's worse than anything as far as taking away anything from a player is play time. You mentioned Devin Lloyd, not covering the guy he was supposed to be responsible for. I know fans have pointed out to me a bunch on the play where Kmet, it might, similar play there, ran over Andre Sisco, and you see Lloyd just kind of jogging towards the play. And I mean, he's the guy people are asking me a lot about. So I'll ask you, when Foyer's healthy and they're playing in those two linebacker sets, does Ventrell Miller deserve that spot next to Foye Oluokun based on what you've seen lately? I mean, for me, it would be a conversation that I would have with my linebackers coach and go from there. Because here's the reality: is that I think Devin Lloyd has a propensity to make some mental mistakes, at least from what I can decipher off of the film. This past game looked like he was out of his gap on one play, another play in coverage, another play in coverage, and you got to be clean. I mean, especially with a team that has a quarterback that can extend plays. If you're not clean, then you can't stay on the field. And I remember, you go back to last year, Mike, I mean, everybody kind of saw it. Remember how Foye would get frustrated with Devin, because he was having to get him lined up and stuff. Correct. And, and now there's no Foye. And so Devin's got to, he's got to take care of himself. And in some cases, you would like to think that he could help take care of the next guy, Ventrell Miller, who hasn't had as much play time as him. But I just think Devin's got to clean it up. And if he doesn't clean it up, then I think you definitely you have to look at doing something different. All right, back to the lines we go at 641-1010. Thanks for your patience this morning. Larry in St. Augustine, you're next up on a Check the Tape Tuesday. Go ahead, Larry.
Hey, guys. Just a thought, man. I'm watching the game Sunday, and, when they do the halftime interviews with the coaches, and Doug came on, and he looked like a little beat-up puppy to me. But my question is, does he get up there butt enough? And I thought to myself, like, the Dan Campbells, the Mike Tomlins, all these guys, when they go in the locker room, does he get up there butt enough to fire them up? And it's just a thought to me. I don't know if that makes a difference or not. Anyway.
All right. What about I guess Doug Peterson's demeanor, he's usually a pretty, he's not a screamer, Logs. It doesn't come across that way anyway. We don't know what goes on behind closed doors all the time. But what about that? The people have remarked that he looks like he doesn't have answers. He looks defeated. He looks exasperated. What have you? Is there, not a strong enough message being sent about the urgency of whatever to his players from what you gather?
It's an interesting question, and I don't know how he is behind closed doors, and none of us do. And I understand why Doug may have been a little bit exasperated there going at the halftime. A lot of times they don't do interviews with coaches that are trailing going in at the half just because they kind of can get some of that exasperation.
Mm-hmm.
Usually they interview the coach that's leading going in at halftime, and then they give the losing coach at halftime time to cool down and to process some of the information, and they interview him coming out into the third quarter. And that was a little bit different, but I get it. They're at the end of the first half, as a football team, you're down 3-7 and Cisco has an interception and you're like, okay, here we go. Right. Here's some momentum, winning a turnover battle. And then all of a sudden as an offense, you go out there and you have a 3 and out. I mean, what kind of momentum swing is that? You get a big play on defense and then you go 3 and out as an offense. And then Chicago ends up basically using up almost the entirety of the clock there at the end of the half. And then you've got 2 scrambles by Caleb Williams for over 40 yards. And then you throw a 2-yard touchdown pass to Kmet, which, oh, by the way, you had a blown coverage there. So I understand a little of the exasperation. And I would be a little disappointed if I didn't have a coach that was a little exasperated at that point.
All right, Larry, hopefully that addressed your point there. Let's go to Steve in Melbourne. Next up on a Check the Tape Tuesday. Go ahead, Steve.
Hey, guys. I got 2 questions for Logs real quick. One is with Trevor. With all the drops that came in that game, and he leads the league with drops and lost points and everything like that. How do you gain that trust or whatever, or if he loses trust with his guys, if they're just dropping clean balls? And 2, I heard this from Coach Campo, so I wonder if you can elaborate a little bit. He said during the game, especially on that play with Kmet in the corner, it seemed like one side was playing man, the other side was playing zone. And to him, it looked like when the guy came across, Lloyd might have thought, hey, Darby's passing him off to me. And Kmet just went free. But if that's the case, he's seeing one side play man, the other play zone. Isn't that kind of maybe where some of the faults might be, lack of communication or discipline and not knowing things?
They're not playing man and zone on one side. I mean, that's just a blown coverage, and you're definitely not going to have a situation on the field where you're going to get a linebacker passing off coverage responsibility with a corner. I mean, you're just not going to do that. It's just a total blown coverage by the Jaguars defense there at the end of the half. And Dave Campo is right. It was total bad coverage right there. I can tell you that.
So what about, Trevor had by some count, 4 balls that could have been touchdowns that were dropped. Now, on one of them or 2 of them on the same drive, they ultimately did end up scoring. But nevertheless, Gabe Davis dropped 2 of these. Kirk had one hit him in the face. Brian Thomas was wide open on one, hit him right in the hands,
yeah.
Logs. So, I mean, I'm not going to answer for you, but my answer would be that I don't know what choice you have other than to keep going back to them. These are your guys. These are your playmakers, right? I mean, what else can you possibly do but continue to try to put the ball in the right place?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. I mean, a lot of people kind of look at the loss and kind of want to blame Trevor. And I thought Trevor played well. Thought he played very well in that ball game. Thought that he could have had obviously a lot more support around him, especially with his wide receiver group and also the team as a whole and the defense in particular. And usually a quarterback, when he has a guy that's dropping the ball, the guy's going to stop getting the ball thrown to him. But in this case,
they're all dropping.
Like you just pointed out, Brian, Christian, Gabe. I mean, what are you going to do? Stop throwing the ball to everyone?
Right. And Ingram had the fumble.
Evan Ingram, yeah, he fumbled. So what do you can't stop throwing to him too. I mean, that's like your whole team. So you got to be better. But there's a little bit of a trend with Gabe Davis. That's the reality. He's had some drops recently, and again, I go back to the accountability thing. If Gabe has had a trend of drops, which he has, then you need to look at maybe playing somebody else. I mean, and I like Gabe. I thought he was a great addition. I said it with you guys. I thought that he was a perfect addition to this team for exactly what they needed. But right now, he's not playing to the level that Gabe Davis is capable of doing. And he bounced back, caught touchdowns, but by the time some of that happened, I mean, just the momentum and the impact that the drops have on the team as a whole, it sucks the life out of you. Even if you end up recovering, right, and you score that touchdown even after you have the drop, I mean, it's still sucking the life out of you. And that's right now when you're not a good football team, when you have negative plays like that, it continues to be a downer for the team. You got to eliminate that kind of thing.
But isn't this kind of going to what Trevor Lawrence was talking about? We can't be too fragile, right? Like, because defense gets a 3 and out to start the game. Jags drive down, nice drive, and they hit Gabe Davis on what would be a touchdown. He doesn't come up with it. They kick the field goal. All right, yes, it's deflating. We wanted the touchdown. Cost us 4 points. But then the defense goes right back out and gets another 3 and out. Logs like, okay, it's a minor setback in the scheme of things. Your defense is off to a great start. You got a lead. You got the ball. And then they did nothing, really, the rest of the half. So, is it a case where they are that mentally on the edge, that one negative play early creates that here we go again mentality?
Yeah, I think right now they are. And I think that in the first game, when I pointed out how you had that little bit of adversity and you just seemed to kind of crumple from that moment of adversity when you had the fumble. I mean, with ETN, I think goes to exactly what Trevor's talking about. And look, the NFL games are always back and forth, ebbs and flows, changes of momentum, turnovers, giveaways, takeaways. I mean, all of those things happen. And you can label them however you want to, but you have to be mentally tough enough to be able to withstand it and to fight back. And right now, this football team, at the beginning of that ball game, when you're talking about, okay, you end up not getting the touchdown that you wanted because Gabe had the drop, so you're 4 points short of where you should have been. Defense gets a 3 and out. Well, offense, you end up having a short drive, and then you had to punt. Well, you had a false start on the punt by Tim Jones, right?
Yeah.
So that kind of takes a little bit out of you, right? And the Bears turn around and march down the field. And Cole Kmet has a big play, energizes the team, runs over Cisco to get in the end zone, which, by the way, was a great play design. They faked the throw to Keenan Allen on the left. They faked the throw to the running back on the right. And then they find Kmet down the middle, kind of the parting of the seas play. And Cisco has an opportunity to make a tackle in the middle. Even though the coverage is screwed up because, one of the linebackers has voided the middle of the field. Okay, well, make a tackle, Cisco. Make a tackle so you can line up and play defense. And he doesn't make it, and he gets run over. Yeah. Well, that's another thing that kind of takes the momentum and the positive energy from your football team is the fashion in which that play happened. And then all of a sudden, okay, well, on offense, you get the ball back, and then ETN puts the ball on the ground. Well, that kind of takes a little bit of energy out of it as well. Even though you got it back, it still takes energy out of you. You got to start making plays that give you energy and not having plays that are negative, because the negative, it just compounds, and then it's just hard to get over it. And Trevor wants to call it fragile, whatever. You got to be mentally tougher than that. But the only way you're mentally tougher is that you make the plays to turn the momentum around to win games.
He is Jeff Lageman. It is nearing 4 p.m. in London. That's where Logs is located right now. We're back here in Jacksonville. Mike Dempsey, Dylan Denmark. Fat Tony has the day off. This is a Check the Tape Tuesday. Lines are wide open right now if you want to get in at 641-1010 on the Garber Automall phone lines. Got a bunch of social media questions for you, Logs, and we'll dig into some of those coming up in hour number 2. Checking the tape with Jeff Lageman on Jaguars Today here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Lickety Split. You know how hot it can be in North Florida. Just look at yesterday. Just a broiler, even though we're in the month of October. Well, when the temperatures go up and your AC goes out, you need help now, right now, like Lickety Split. Call Lickety Split. Get same-day emergency service for your air conditioning. They'll also handle your home's plumbing and electrical, too. Local, family-owned, and operated with a huge fleet of techs and trucks to take care of your issue quickly. That's Lickety Split. Get the job done right. Go online to licketysplitfl.com.
Jaguars Today. From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL. Someone's going to win a tailgate combo pack from Southern Steer Butcher, valued at $100, and it could be you. Yes! Every month you'll have a shot at a Corona tailgate tent with a cooler chair and a collectible football. It's the ultimate tailgate. Enter at 1010XL.com.
October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and Ackerman Cancer Center offers women's health, diagnostic, and screening services, including contract enhanced mammography and total body MRI. Early detection is the key. Visit AckermanCancerCenter.com.
Hacker here, and I can't believe it. 100 pounds gone. 6 months ago, I never would have dreamed this was possible. I'm going to say it again because it feels so good. I've dropped 100 pounds thanks to Awaken 180 weight loss. To put that in perspective, I've taken roughly 10 inches off my waist. I'm down from a XXX to an XL, and I did it all in slightly over 6 months. It's not just about the number on the scale. It's also about getting my life back, playing with my son, and being more physically active. Now, we're celebrating big time. I'm hosting an exclusive football watch party to celebrate this huge milestone, and you'll have a chance to join me. Let's watch some football, eat some great food, and if you have questions about Awaken 180, ask me. Details to come, but don't wait on that. Call Awaken 180 today and learn how fast you can reach your goals. 844-346-1800 or online, awaken180weightloss.com.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
1010XL celebrates high scorers.
1010XL and Southeast Orthopedic Specialists celebrate scholar athletes.
In class and on the court.
Brought to you by the Plumbers and Pipefitters Local Union 234. Wednesdays on The Frangie Show.
Hey folks, this is Dave Benyon with my son Ammon here from Zero Res. Ammon, you've been cleaning air ducts for a while now. What are some of the reasons customers might consider getting their air ducts cleaned?
There are many reasons. Many times, people suffer needlessly from poor indoor air quality produced by the conditions in their air system. Construction dust, the presence of bacterial growth, and years' worth of buildup all come together to make your air ducts a pretty gross place. If you suffer from allergies, have recently moved, recently remodeled, or have never had your air ducts cleaned, then now is the best time to call. By calling Zero Res, you'll have the peace of mind of knowing that you called the best of the best. Our state-of-the-art truck mount system and top-of-the-line service representatives simply can't be found anywhere else. Google Zero Res and read thousands of 5-star reviews.
So what kind of deals can I expect?
Just mention that you heard us on the radio, and we'll give you $100 off your air duct cleaning.
Wow, that sounds like a pretty great deal. Remember, folks, Zero Res,
spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
CEROREC, Zero Res.
This is Corona Premier. It's the light beer you didn't know was a light beer. Until right. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Now, Corona Premier, an unexpectedly light beer.
Hey there, sports fans. This is Niall Lawrence Stample, former Seminole football player and proud owner of NLS Cleaning. Looking to get your business or home shining like a champion? Look no further. NLS Cleaning is your local go-to pressure washing and window cleaning servicer. Whether it's commercial or residential, we are fine-tuned like a team gearing up to win it all. So for a sparkling finish and a team that's truly committed to your satisfaction, check out our website at nlscleaning.net. NLS Cleaning, where every cleaning gets your business or home game ready for any occasion.
Our slogan, Know Before You Blow, applies to more than just DUI cases. Hi, I'm attorney Lee Lockett of Lockett Law. Battery charges can result in jail time and criminal convictions too, so know before you blow a gasket and hit a loved one or a stranger. Drug crimes like possession of marijuana and cocaine will land you in cuffs too, so know before you blow. In a boating under the influence case, you also have the option to blow or not to blow. So know your options. Know before you blow. Go to knowbeforeyouBlow.com now. Offices Jacksonville.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Jeff Lageman here. Now that football season is here, make sure your ride can get to that tailgate or away game safely and dependably. You can trust the ASE certified professionals at any of the 27 independently owned Napa Auto Care Centers and the quality Napa parts they use. Napa Auto Care Centers can handle everything: oil changes, air conditioning, brakes, engines, transmissions, and more. Napa Auto Care offers a nationwide 24-month, 24,000-mile peace-of-mind warranty on most repairs. Find a Napa Auto Care Center near you. JacksNapaAutoCareGroup.com.
This is Greg Huntington, a.k.a. The Mangler. I'm on the winning team at Waste Management. WM is the largest sustainability company in North America. If your business needs sustainable environmental services for waste removal and recycling collection, then you can count on the industry leader of WM to deliver results. Your services will be completed in a timely, safe, and eco-friendly manner. Go to WM.com/Duval. That's WM.com/Duval and get signed up today. If anyone can talk trash, it's the Mangler.
Here's your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, sponsored by Hurricane Grill and Wings. Florida will next take on Kentucky, and head coach Billy Napier touched on some of the challenges.
Kentucky has a good football team. You see a team that has height, length, and speed, and certainly has an identity in all three parts of their team.
FSU head coach Mike Norvell expressed he's pleased with the growth of quarterbacks Brock Glenn and Luke Kromenoff.
You know, I love their mindset and the way that they've been battling. I think both those guys are really approaching things well, and I've been proud of their work.
Florida basketball is ranked number 21 in the AP Top 25 preseason men's basketball poll, which came out on Monday. Senior Gator combo guard Walter Clayton Jr. was named to the All-SEC first team in the preseason media poll. At your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, I'm Sam Nelson.
At 11 o'clock, it's 68 degrees. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler, Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jeff Lageman Tuesday is serviced by Napa Auto Care on 1010XL.
All right, Logs in London. We're here stateside. Other things going on around the NFL, Dylan.
Now, gems around the NFL. Brought to you by Beaches Jewelry and Pawn in Jacks Beach.
All right, we'll make this quick and get back to the Jaguar beat here. But the Raiders have reportedly agreed to terms with the New York Jets on a trade that will send Devontae Adams to the Jets and reunite him with his former quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. The Raiders were said to be seeking at least a second-round pick or a second-round pick as part of the compensation package. In other words, a second plus. And apparently we're not getting those offers. The Jets are sending him a conditional third-round pick in the deal, which could, depending on Adams' performance, bump up to a second-rounder, but is only guaranteed to be at least a third-rounder. So, once again, another elite kind of diva wide receiver gets his way by milking what we're supposed to believe was a hamstring injury that coincided with his desire to leave Las Vegas. So good luck to the Jets with him coming on board there as they lost last night 23-20. Greg Zuerlein, the Jets kicker, hit 2 field goal attempts off the left upright in the game, and the ultimate margin only 3 points, despite the fact that Rodgers hit Alan Lazard on a 52-yard Hail Mary at the end of the first half. And then finally, Philadelphia Eagles coach Nick Sirianni offered a mea culpa after his late-game interaction with the fans during Sunday's win for the Eagles over Cleveland. He said on Sunday he was just excited to get the win and then was much more conciliatory yesterday. This in the wake of him showing up to the post-game press conference with his small children in what was seen as an attempt to deflect any hard-hitting questions. Nobody's going to ask me any tough ones if I've got my little kid sitting on my lap, right? Well, Sirianni ultimately probably got word from upstairs that you better say something, because if you lose the fan base, you're going to have a hard time being in that job for too much longer. But Philadelphia did get the win over Cleveland this week. That's where things stand around the National Football League. All right, Jeff, back with you here. You're in London. I'm back in the States. Ms. Nika, who was at one point named Jaguar Fan of the Year a couple seasons ago, said she is landing in London on Thursday. Logs, do you have a good place for her to drown her sorrows for what's been going on with Jaguar football? Have you got a favorite watering hole in London at this point?
No, I don't. I mean, there's a lot of really good pubs, and I can tell you, if you want to find the best pubs, just follow JP Shadrick around. He's like the pub guru,
pub guy. All right, I can see that.
Oh yeah.
All right, I saw JP this summer. Took a Scotland trip all by his lonesome. Right, so there's no doubt that he's frequenting some watering holes when he's over there. All right, JP Shadrick's the guy with the inside scoop, Ms. Nika. So hit him up on Twitter. I'm sure he'll be happy to get back to you. Let's go back out to it. Logs at 641-1010. Brandon is in Palm Coast. And next up on a Check the Tape Tuesday. Good morning, Brandon.
Hey, good morning, Mike, Jeff, Puckett. Quick question. I got to keep reminding myself that they're actually playing under a new coordinator on defense this year. Pete Prisco said something a day or two ago about the team switching out and rotating like a hockey team.
Yes.
And that's been getting highlighted for a while now. Is that something that messes around with the simplicity or complexity of the defensive strategy or play calling as a whole whenever they show up? I'll take comments off there.
Thank you, Brandon. What do you think, Logs?
Yeah, good question, Brandon. And I like the idea of them rotating guys, but there are some guys that you got to make sure if you're doing the rotation thing, they're on the field at critical times. There was in the 2-minute drill, the Bears were out there at the end of the half, and you had a play in which Josh and Trayvon were not out there. And I'm like, and it happened to be on one of the scrambles by Caleb Williams. I'm like, wait a minute. And they had as the two edge players, it was Roy and Eric Armstead. I mean, to me, that's a mistake by the coach.
Should never happen, right? I mean, it's not like they're playing 100% of the snaps, but those two should not both be out of the game at the same time.
You have to have some speed on the field. And I'm okay with those guys being out there, but here's the thing I'm not okay with. I want to have somebody that can run down Caleb Williams if he does break the pocket. And I can tell you that Roy and Eric are not those two guys that can do that, And so that was a little bit concerning. And I know that, if you go back and you look at some of Foye's interviews, Foye Lueken's interviews earlier at the beginning and before the season about the rotational thing, and you could just tell that he wasn't a fan of it. And I mean, there are some guys that you can rotate, and there are some guys that they need to stay on the field the whole time. And I'm not saying the entire time, but almost the entirety of it. But the benefit of doing that with some guys, for example, is when Foye went down, at least you got a guy in Ventrell Miller some reps where he can step out on the field and play well. So I mean, there's positives and there are negatives to it, but at critical junctures of the ball game, you got to have your guys out there on the field.
Well, let me ask you then about Tank Bigsby, okay? And obviously Etienne gets banged up in this game, and now they're describing him as week to week, which usually means at least one missed game. Bigsby only ended up getting 7 carries in the game. Logs. We were debating this yesterday. Do you think the fumble on the kickoff, even though he recovered it, following a fumble last week, which he also recovered in the end zone for a touchdown, do you think they're spooked at all about the ball security, or was it just a case that they were so far down and they realized going forward they're going to put a lot on Bigsby's shoulders, particularly if Etienne misses time, that they thought, let's let Dearness Johnson come in here and handle this. We're down so big, it's really not going to matter anyway.
Well, I think they were definitely aware of Tank Bigsby and also the Bears' ability to punch the ball out. Because here's the facts. I mean, Tank Bigsby has put the ball on the carpet 4 times in his career, and he's got 93 touches. I mean, that's hard to keep somebody on the field when the ball is hitting the carpet with that type of frequency, and it's hard to trust somebody in a game to where you need to protect the ball to kind of keep the momentum going. And, oh, by the way, your defense ain't getting any, to help your team out. So, yeah, I think they're definitely aware of that. That's one of the reasons why Dearness Johnson ended up having only one less carry than Tank Bigsby.
So what do you do now, though, going forward? Like, you go in, like, new game, fresh mindset. Let's presume that ETN doesn't play against the Patriots this week, right? We don't know that for a fact, but let's presume that. Do you go in with the idea that Bigsby is going to get, like, 2/3 of the work, or does he just split it 50-50 with Dearness, or is this just based on the feel and see, how secure he is hanging on to the football? What is the Jeff Lageman approach to the running back position this week if ETN can't play?
I think you gotta kind of share it with Bigsby and Johnson in the backfield, but then also you're probably going to have to do something from a roster standpoint. Whether it be a practice squad elevation, or you find a way to get Keelan Robinson on the active roster, who was a draft pick, which I don't know where he's at, by the way. I just know that he's on in that window to where he could be activated anytime, along with the Tyson Campbell. But you're definitely going to have to do something if ETN cannot go, because going into a game day with only 2 active running backs on the roster is not going to work.
Well, they got Jake Funk on the practice squad. I was looking yesterday, and Reese Zamet are your only 2 running back options currently on the practice squad if you wanted to elevate one of those guys for this week. And we'll see what they ultimately end up doing. We'll see what goes on. If they don't have Travis Etienne Lugs, I feel like this is an oversimplification, but, we look at that Detroit backfield. There's such a great 2-headed approach with David Montgomery getting a lot of the tough stuff, and Jahmyr Gibbs, the more explosive edge, get outside the tackle box kind of player. And I feel like, Gibbs is Etienne for us, and Bigsby's more the David Montgomery type, whereas Etienne was going to take on a large role in the passing game. Tank doesn't get that role. So do they alter the game plan? Do they try to get him more involved there, or are we just going to see more Dearness Johnson on 3rd down?
I think you'll just see Bigsby on the early downs, and then Bigsby on the early downs, and then Dearness Johnson as that 3rd down back. Basically, essentially, Dearness Johnson kind of takes over that 3rd down role that ETN always had. And ETN, look, hamstring. I mean, that's hamstrings and running backs, that doesn't work out very well,
right?
And for a guy that already had a shoulder, that clearly bothered him the last 2 weeks, and then impacted his playtime last week, and then all of a sudden now to add the hamstring to that, not a good situation to be in if you're the running back's room right there.
No doubt about it. All right, we'll come back more with Jeff Lageman, including how did the offensive line play this week, and what other areas we can get into, and what other questions we can answer. We got a bunch of them here on social media. We'll fire some of those at Jeff when we return on a Check the Tape Tuesday. Jeff Lageman in London. I'm Mike Dempsey, along with Dylan Denmark here in Jacksonville. Fat Tony's got the day off. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. He's fearless in the face of danger when entering enemy territory.
What is your mission?
Get insights and interviews from Jags beat reporter Hayes Carline when he takes you behind enemy lines. Brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors on 1010XL.
At Cannons of Jacksonville, they know that when you're towing anything, you gotta have products you can rely on. With over 50 years of fabrication expertise, the family at Cannons can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Whether it's a heavy-duty hitch, trailer frame, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons will provide you with unmatched precision and durability. For all your towing needs, visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
Now, the Randy Marion Cadillac Drive of the Game. Randy Marion Cadillac of Jacksonville. Drive to the game in luxury with Randy Marion Cadillac of Jacksonville.
Facing a deficit going into the second half, Jacksonville would look to make a statement and get back in the contest. And thanks to an 11-play sequence led by Trevor Lawrence, capped off by a Gabe Davis 21-yard touchdown, the Teal and Black would make the score 21-10 in the 3rd period. The 70-yard drive is your Randy Marion Cadillac Drive of the Game.
Hey everybody, Jennifer Marion with Randy Marion Cadillac in Jacksonville here to say hello, and we'd sure like to have your business.
You know what? They're going to love the king of price.
My dad believes in making great deals and having a great selection in stock.
Cadillac XT4s, XT5s, and XT6s, and Escalades.
The all-electric Cadillac Lyriq.
CT4s and CT5s.
Cadillac luxury and selection is just waiting for you.
At Randy Marion Cadillac, Southside Boulevard, Jacksonville.
And don't forget, tell them Jennifer sent ya.
Want to be up close and personal with the Jaguars as they take the field? Here's your chance to be in the shadows, outside the Jaguars locker room, now called the Vault. Enter today at everbank.com/shadows. One winner and a guest for every home game at Everbank Stadium. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to legal residents of the United States and D.C. 18 and older. Entry periods for the Shadow Sweepstakes promotion from 8/19/24 to 12/15/24. For official rules and complete details, visit everbank.com/shadows. Sponsored administrator, Everbank N.A. member FDIC.
Are you ready to upgrade your home? Experience the winning combination of style and performance with Renewal by Andersen, energy-efficient, custom-built replacement windows and doors. Buy 4 windows or patio doors and get the 5th free. Plus, 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 12 months. This offer expires October 31st and restrictions apply. Renewal by Andersen, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com for details.
License number CGC 1527613.
Denny Thompson here. They're still growing. Tyson Sound & Security is looking to hire a master electrician. Are you or someone you know a master electrician with residential experience? Candidate will start at the industry's most competitive pay. Apply online at TysonSoundAndSecurity.com or call to apply 762-1000. Tyson Sound & Security hiring a master electrician offering top-notch industry pay. Call to apply 762-1000. Equal opportunity employee.
I open the door and take you inside the locker room to get you closer to the field, the players and coaches you care about.
Get a look at Hayes' blog on 1010XL.com.
My blog is brought to you by Roland Reese Plumbing,
where quality and experience count.
Nick in here for About 9 Associates, where you'll find Jacksonville's most esteemed eye doctors at each of their locations. After being selected for one of the most competitive ophthalmology fellowships in the world, Dr. Frank Bowden is frequently called upon for his expert opinion. He is currently one of the few cornea and external disease specialists in the area and the founder of About 9. Visit About 9 Associates today and experience the difference. About 9 Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
Make your dream of living in luxury a reality in Lennar's newest 55 and up active adult community, Edenbrook at Highland Trail. Located in the heart of Green Cove Springs, Edenbrook offers world-class amenities with a dedicated activities director and homes starting in the high 300s. With rates as low as 3.99% and up to $50,000 in flex cash on our new Edenbrook homes, the time to buy is now. Call 904-643-3750 to find out more. Your life of luxury awaits in Edenbrook at Highland Trail by Lennar.
Does the building you go to work in every day need a little love and attention? Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Great companies take great care of the buildings their staff and customers walk into every day. If the building you're in doesn't match the vision you have for your company, we can help. Go to performance-painting.com. Our highly trained team makes the difference. Quality coatings applied with pride.
Performance Painting! Jacksonville's building a fence along the goal line. This is the Superior Fence and Rail Defensive Player of the Game. Superior Fence and Rail, where quality matters.
Ventrell Miller was an absolute monster across the pond for Duval. The 6-foot linebacker tallied a team-high 10 tackles while in London, with 8 being solo. Miller continues to hustle and bustle on defense and is beginning to make a name for himself across league circles. Ventrell Miller is your Superior Fence and Rail's defensive Player of the Game.
If you're tired of your fence looking like a bad hair day, well, it's time for a fence makeover with Superior Fence and Rail. They'll make your yard the talk of the town with a new fence installed by their expert team.
Your fence is fantastic. My fence is giving all of my neighbors some serious pick and envy. Thanks, Superior Fence and Rail.
So get off the fence and call Superior Fence and Rail for your fence installation project today.
SuperiorFenceandRail.com. 1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jeff Lageman Tuesday
is brought to you by
Napa Auto Care on 1010XL.
All right, Logs in London, baby. Another week over there, roughly. Jags playing the New England Patriots upcoming Sunday at 9:30 a.m. Once again, 9:30 our time. We're back here stateside. Tony Smith's got the day off. Logs, we alluded to the offensive line. Wanted to ask you just your thoughts on how they played this week. Tony and I talked about it a little bit yesterday. Watching the game, I didn't feel like, oh, man, they're doing a terrible job. Trevor's under constant duress. But from your review of it, how do you think they did?
I thought they did okay. The one player that's not playing very well is Anton Harrison. And at the end of the ball game, you could tell that physically he was definitely not in a good place. But even at the beginning of that ball game, he just wasn't finishing, and kind of went back to the first week or two of the season for me and watching him. And, he's too good. He's too good of a football player to be playing like he is. And he's got to be better. Now, again, I know at the end of the ball game, he was physically hurting a little bit. And I don't know if he went in that game physically hurting. He wasn't on the injury report, so I can only assume that he wasn't. But he's got to play at a higher level because that's what he's capable of.
What does that go to? Is that like the coaching is not developing him here in year two, or is it just sophomore slump when the league gets a little film on you, or is it sometimes just unexplainable?
Yeah, to me, I don't know. I mean, I definitely don't believe in sophomore slumps. I don't believe in that they get film on you so they can get a book on you.
Okay.
And the reason, one of the big reasons I think that I'm not a fan of the way he's playing right now is he's not finishing. And finishing doesn't have anything to do with talent. That has to do with commitment and want to. And I'm not seeing enough of that out of him right now. Here's the reality. Offensive line is doing a pretty good job. The last 3 games, they've been pretty good. One of the best blocking guys, though, that I'd like to point out is Brenton Strange. I mean, it's an absolute joy to watch Brenton Strange play football. I know he's not perfect. I know he was kind of involved in that false start with Walker Little on that one play. But, man, when you watch the film on that guy, I don't think he's like the perfect model football player as far as finishing. He's tough. He's physical. He finishes. He works hard. Every play he's blocking like his block depends on it being a touchdown or not. And that's what I love about watching him.
All right. Jeff Lageman in London. Let's get back to your questions. We got one on the line here with James on the south side. James, you're on Jaguars Today. Go ahead, please.
Thanks, guys. Jeff, I just have a question. I hear people talking about the coach doesn't have the personality. He doesn't fire the team up and all this stuff. But, people like yourself and Cersei and Baselli didn't look like to me you guys needed any inspiration from the coach. You just went out there and played because that's what you wanted to do and that's what you needed to do. So how much is the coach responsible for getting you guys ready to play a football game?
Well, I think he's definitely ready, and that those are the guys that can give you a lot of the tendencies and the tricks and all that kind of stuff, as far as going into a game. But the emotional side of things, that's got to come from the players, because you can't expect a coach to be fire and brimstone up in front of the team. I mean, look, that doesn't work. I mean, it can work at times when the timing of it is right. And it's not just sitting there, constantly happening every week. But, I mean, it's got to come from within. And from within means the players themselves, Doug Peterson, a few weeks back was talking about, the teams that are really good, the leadership comes from the players. And that's true. And you go back to some of the great teams in NFL history. And, one of the guys that I kind of think of is Baltimore Ravens and Ray Lewis. He was kind of that leader of that football team. He gave them energy, but even the teams of now, I mean, look at Patrick Mahomes. I mean, look at the way he leads. I mean, leads that team in every way and shape and form. And it's great to see. I mean, that's what you got to have from within. And I'm not saying that, you're pointing out Patrick Mahomes to criticize Trevor. So I think everybody does it in their own different way. But I mean, the more guys that you have that are willing to be in the front of the room and put themselves, expose themselves a little bit and be committed, I mean, the better off you're going to be. And right now, this football team doesn't have enough of it.
Logs, let's try to put the brakes on here for a moment. and just look at it from a positive angle, individually. There have to be some players, I would imagine, that are playing well. You mentioned Brenton Strange, not perfect. I'm not asking for perfection here, but give me 2 or 3 guys that you watched the film maybe over the last couple of weeks, and you said, you know what, even though maybe the defense has given up this many points, this guy is still handling his assignments, or just what are you seeing from a positive standpoint?
Well, the way that Ventrell Miller is finishing tackles, I love watching that. But he's got some work to do in some of his coverage. Montaric Brown, I think overall, is a guy that's gotten better, although this past game he had a couple plays that weren't great. But I also think that he's developed enough to where when Tyson Campbell comes back and proves that he can be out there on the field, that there's got to be some consideration about having Montaric Brown start ahead of Ronald Darby. Just because Ronald Darby's play has just been kind of average to below average. Darnell Savage, I think, is a good football player that's got some awareness to him. I like him. I like the improvement that Cisco had this past game. I think Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker are playing very well. I mean, those 2 guys continue to play well. It's got to get some of that production in the middle of the defense. When I say the middle of the defense, from the linebacking position, Devin Lloyd, and also the defensive tackles.
All right, well, there you go.
Hey, let me give you one more positive, Mike. I don't want to go without giving credit to Logan Cook. I mean, those 2 punts, and I know he's only a punter, but there in that ball game, he ended up having, I think it was like a 46-yard punt, no return, put it out at the 5-yard line, followed it up with another one that was like a 48-yarder, and put the Chicago Bears back at the 15, even though they took it down the field and scored. But, I mean, look, Logan Cook did his job and did it very well.
Yeah, 4 punts, all of them inside the 20. So, it's just a shame, Logs, that this is where we're at, right? And I'm not saying he doesn't deserve. He's a member of the team. He deserves his accolades as well. But, there was that period of time when we looked for positives and be like, the field goal kicker made a cut. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, and that's
feels
fine.
like you're reaching.
Right, exactly. We want those guys to do well, and we appreciate. Logan Cook's been an excellent player. Cam Little's doing a really good job this year. He's only missed the 1 field goal, and but when you've got to go to the specialist when your list is as short as it is, it just, oh my gosh.
I get look. The other guy I'll point out, because I think Luke Farrell is playing very well. I want to give credit to him and Brian Thomas, even though he didn't have a very good game. And the offensive line is playing better. But I got one more situation to kind of get off my chest, and I'll feel better, Mike. Because I kind of use this as a venting day a little bit, especially after the performance like that. Late in that ball game, when the Chicago Bears ended up taking a 21-3 lead, and the Jaguars ended up having a drive, and you had to underthrow to Brian Thomas Jr., which was disappointing. But look, you still ended up scoring on that drive, right? 21-yard touchdown to Gabe Davis, and all right, you've closed it to 11 points. It's now 21-10 Bears. Okay, it's still in the 3rd quarter. Game is still way beyond over. Okay, you got a lot of football left to be played. And you think, okay, you score. You got energy, you got some momentum. Let's get a response by the defense. And then you allow a 10-play, 70-yard drive where you had 3 penalties. 2 of them went for first downs. And then you allowed DeAndre Swift 5 carries for 54 yards on that drive, and allowing the Bears to go down and score a touchdown. It was like, that's your response to gaining some energy and some positivity by scoring an offense, which the game is still in contention.
Well, on that drive, they got him off the field 3 times, and they extended the drive with penalties. Remember, it was 3rd and 8, and you get the sack from Trayvon, but you got 12 men on the field because Devon Hamilton apparently didn't get off in time, and then it's 3rd and 3. You stop them again.
By the way, that's on coaches. Okay, that one's on coaching. Okay, when that the Chicago Bears are going tempo. Okay, which they were. Okay, and they have the ability to do that. Then either you don't change personnel, or if you're involved in the personnel change, you're not jogging off the field.
Right.
You are sprinting off of the field.
Well, beyond that, so that results in 3rd and 3. They get a stop, holding, defensive holding. Another 3rd down on the drive.
On Darby.
Another 3rd down on the drive. Another hold on Darby, right?
On Darby.
So I mean, like, in addition to, as you just laid out, they couldn't stop DeAndre Swift at a critical point in the ballgame. It felt like there were so many of these opportunities where they're down, all right, it's 10-point margin, but it's not insurmountable. It's like the Evan Ingram fumble. It's about a 10-point, 11-point game. And you come right out, you get a big chunk play, and it just seems like any time they have any kind of prosperity, they're just, one step forward, 2 steps back.
Yeah, it's just I feel better, Mike.
I hear you, brother. I don't know. It's temporary. They're going to play again this Sunday, so we'll look ahead to that one. And what, if any, changes can be made in the short term? And, boy, what could the fallout be if the Jags fall to 1-6 against a not-so-hot New England Patriots team, and if they lose to a rookie quarterback for the 2nd consecutive week? We'll discuss that and more. On the other side, Jeff Lageman in London, Mike Dempsey and Dylan Denmark here in the States. You're listening to a Check the Tape Tuesday. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Food Sandwiches, Subs. Check. The Thompson family has had your back with delicious items, easy on-the-go food, with great prices and highest quality ingredients for nearly 70 years. They've been serving up this kind of food for Jacksonville, FLA. Yeah, it started out with a few sandwiches and subs. They've expanded that menu to include so many things, but don't forget about some of the classics like the hot roast beef and provolone, the Italian combo that'll absolutely melt in your mouth, the tuna salad, the chicken salad, the all-white meat spicy buffalo chicken, and, of course, the big old juicy classic 100% beef cheeseburger. Many served on fresh ciabatta bread, baked locally, delivered daily, as you'd expect from the folks that bring you fresh, never frozen goodness all over the First Coast. When you're hungry for food on the go, swing into a gate station, fill up the tank, and then fill up your belly with some delicious offerings from Dandy Sandwiches and Subs. When you're hungry at Duval, do what I do. Go out and make yours a dandy, and do it today.
Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Andersen Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL.
If you suffer from constant burning, tingling, or numbness in your hands or feet, it could be a serious condition called neuropathy. I'm Dr. Nathan Riddle, DC with Riddle Wellness in Ponte Vedra. Neuropathy is treatable, and we have seen great results by using state-of-the-art, non-invasive therapies to target damaged nerves, reduce symptoms, and improve nerve function. Call 904-395-5598 to schedule your free consultation today and learn how you can live pain-free. Call 904-395-5598.
This is Tony Baselli, Pro Football Hall of Famer. I was known for protecting our quarterback. These days, I'm extending that protection to a different arena, your home. I have partnered with Heritage Roofing of North Florida, your premier local roofers with over 25 years of experience. Heritage is your go-to roofer for hurricane preparation, with same-day inspections and estimates. They also work with all insurance companies. Let Heritage Roofing of North Florida safeguard your home and family. Visit heritagenfl.com for your free estimate today.
State license CCC 1335410.
This election, if you want someone who will take care of the messes, someone who isn't afraid to get dirty and work in the trenches, someone who will pump out the problems and prevent future ones, vote for the Duck.
Need your septic tank serviced? Call Duck Duck Rooter, your 5-star Google-rated septic company. Visit duckduckrooter.com.
I approve this message.
When you're stuck, call the Duck. duckduckrooter.com.
When it comes to selling your home, it can be stressful. Take the stress out with my friends, Chad and Sandy Newman. Maybe you're worried you won't sell your home for the price you need. How's this for a guarantee? Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they'll buy it. No required costly repairs. Pick your move date. There are no long-term contracts, and you can cancel at any time. Mortgage rates are down, creating more active buyers and sellers. And if you've been waiting, now is a great time to sell your home. Take Kim in Palm Coast. I needed to move closer to family ASAP, but I had to sell my Palm Coast home first. I tried and failed with another agent. So my family said, you got to call Chad and Sandy. Well, sure enough, as promised, Chad and Sandy did it. They sold my home in 3 days, above asking price. Call the local Jacksonville experts I trust and recommend. Call Chad and Sandy today at 904-414-6200 or go to chadandsandy.com. That's Chad, ANDSANDY.com.
Grab your lucky spot on the couch, because traditions make Sunday easy to enjoy. Bud Light, easy to Sunday, easy to enjoy. Bud Light is the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus. Copyright 2024 Anheuser-Busch. Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
You don't think this would be a good moment to text somebody?
There's never a bad moment to share your opinion on the 1010XL text line. Designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Share your opinion
as soon as possible
at 641-1010.
Roof damage? Call before you claim. Greenlaw Group, fighting insurance companies for you. They will work for you when you have roof damage. Don't let your insurance deny you. Don't call an adjuster. Call Greenlaw Group at 904-302-7055. Remember, if you have roof damage, call Greenlaw Group before you claim. They've settled millions and will work hard to get your claim and new roof. Greenlaw Group. Call before you claim. 904-302-7055.
1 second left. Hackers are ready to score. Will your business defense hold? Double-check cybersecurity stops threats 24/7. Don't wait. Visit doublecheck.com today to schedule your free security consultation. Act now and stay protected.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Want to grow your hair back?
IHRS, right here in Jacksonville, is the only hair transplant clinic in the country that offers multi-unit hair grafting, FUE NeoGraft hair transplants, and the 45-minute effective PRP treatments.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
Thank you, IHRS.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Schedule a free evaluation and find out how to grow your hair back and keep the hair you have. Call 904-777-IHRS. Take the first step to restoring your hair today. Visit hairforme.com.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
IHRS has been restoring hair for men and women for over 30 years.
Call now for a free in-person or virtual evaluation. 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Or visit hair4me.com.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Jaguars head coach Doug Peterson said in the postgame on Sunday that the Jags need to change the culture. He expounded on that comment on Monday.
We've lost some games here, right? So we want to change that culture to a winning culture. That's why we coach and that's why we play. I don't want them to feel sort of mentally defeated, if that makes sense. Because that's where the slippery slope comes in, right? If you feel like you're going into a game where you don't have a chance, then you're not going to have a chance. You're not going to give yourself an opportunity to win that game. So that's what I mean by that culture there.
Doug Peterson on Monday. I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555, Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
You know, speaking of the cool down, it's actually a little nice. I don't know what it was like for you, Dylan. What time you get out of the house this morning? Pockets.
I left the house about 8:15, 8:30.
Okay, was it a nice cool morning for you?
It was nice little sweater weather.
Yeah, I left about 7:45 from my homestead and felt the same way. Logs over there in London. What's the weather like, Logs, for you for the midweek?
It's about a typical London day, about 55, gray, never see the sun.
Yeah, I mean, you don't realize, I didn't realize until I went over there how North London really is. It is way up there, man. It's chilly pretty much year round, it seems like, at least.
Yeah, it seems like you got a chance of rain nearly every day. And, the temperatures are staying right around 60, I think, for the most part this week, and it seems like every day has a chance of rain.
Yeah, well, that's the way it goes. Sometimes that's why we live in Northeast Florida. For the most part, Logs, let's see if I can find just one question that nails this down. Here we go. From Jaguar Doug. What are the odds that Trent Baalke survives after this season, assuming we don't make the playoffs? What do you get the? I know you can't speak for Shad Khan, but you follow this team as closely as anyone. What he put a lot of expectations on this year. Do you feel like is Trent Baalke in some kind of trouble? Does he still have the confidence? I mean, he expressed confidence in Doug and the front office and everybody just about a week ago. So how do you feel about this question?
Yeah, and I think you always express confidence no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, whether it's there or not, and Shad Khan is not an easy read. Nobody knows what he's going to do. He doesn't have any confidants that he talks to or anything of that nature. And, when teams don't win, then jobs are always, basically up in the air. And I think that would be coaches. I think that would be players as well. When I say by that, I mean the personnel people as well as coaches. And, they still got a lot of football left to be played. There's no doubt about it. I got to go back to what Shad Khan said to the football team and felt that it was the most talented football team in Jaguars history. I would disagree with that. But if he believes that, then he obviously feels really good about the talent on this roster. Now the question is was that just, part of a speech that he had in front of the team, or was that some kind of a deep-seated belief that he had, that he felt that this football team has enough talent to win it all? So there's definitely got to be some hard looks taken, and there needs to be a very close evaluation of what happens the rest of the way.
A couple weeks ago, somebody told me, and I won't name them because they didn't say it on the air or publicly to my knowledge, they said, well, if he was led to believe it was the most talented roster in Jaguars history, who do you think might have told him that? The guy that put together the roster, right? I mean, you know what I mean?
Probably.
Exactly. So,
Probably.
So, hey, not my fault, man. If they can't coach these guys up, I gave them everything they needed. You can certainly see that. Logs, look, we did a poll, and overwhelmingly, like 90% of the people in the poll felt that they'd win the New England game. About two-thirds felt like they'd win both of these games in London. And there was that whole mantra, okay, it's 0-4, but if we come back 3-4, we're still in it. There's still plenty of time. Well, now, at best, they're not going to be able to do that, obviously, 2-5. But what if they lose to the Patriots, lose to another rookie quarterback? I mean, could you see the owner making some drastic changes, or could you see just more players being shipped out for future draft picks if they don't fit in the long-term vision of where the team's at right now?
I think you lose to this football team, and the Patriots hold on. And the reason I say that is that this is a football team that everybody knew that wasn't expected to compete, and then their coach even said kind of at the beginning of the year that this year is about building and about evaluation. Well, you lose to a team that's in that kind of a mode. I think it opens up the box on a lot of possibilities.
All right, let's take a look and see if we can avoid that fate this week with today's 10-10 Take.
10-10
Take.
Now, Mike Dempsey's 10-10 Take, brought to you by
Double checked. Cybersecurity made simple.
Logs, I hear you. I hear Tom McManus, David Garrard, Leon Searcy, just about every former player say that so much of this, the players need to take personal accountability. But I'm going to put you in the role of any coach you want to be. You can be Doug Peterson, you can be Ryan Nielsen, you can be Press Taylor, you can be all of them collectively. What are you trying this week?
Can I be Andy Reid?
Yeah. Could you please? Could you? Yes. Could you? As long as you're bringing, bring some of that championship pedigree here with you.
I'd rather be Andy Reid.
Be Andy Reid here in Jacksonville, though, if you could. No, but like, what is your recommendation, or what would you try, or do you just stay the course? What are you doing this week to snap them out of this funk, to have them show up with their hair on fire on Sunday, to play with that passion, that desperation, that finish the play mentality? What are you trying, if anything, differently this week to get that level of performance out of your team?
I think the one thing you got to do is you got to be consistent. You start getting radical, then I think the team reacts in a different way, and they can look at it as panic, and you got to have strong leadership, and you got to lean on leadership if you're a coach, and you also have to be a strong leader yourself. And that's not easy to do. You got to talk to them, you got to work with them. You got to give them confidence going into the ball game from a game plan standpoint, but then you also have to give them emotional confidence in some way, shape, or form. And that's not easy to do with a 1-5 football team. Unfortunately, I've been a part of some of those teams. The most important thing is for this team to have some positive plays to happen in the course of the ball game, and for the veteran guys to continue to make good plays. And if you start having negative plays early in the game, you're going to have that kind of, oh, here we go again attitude, so you hope they start off a little bit fast, even though they did this past game and it didn't end well. But yeah, I don't want to say you pull out all the stops, man. You got to have good leadership, and you got to have strong leadership, and it's got to come from all areas: players, coaches, staff, everybody.
How does that manifest, the leadership from when you say you have to go good leaders on your roster, right? Because it can't all just come from the coaching staff. Like, if you're a player and you're in this locker room and you're looking for leadership, like, what are you looking for? How does that manifest? Is that a speech? Or is that just a guy going around saying, hey, we got to realize we're still professionals? We got to, I mean, what actually comes out of that leadership that can get a better performance on Sunday?
At this point, words are cheap. Actions are what you need. And high energy in practice, high energy in the locker room, high energy on game day. I mean, there's got to be a rise in energy for leadership. And if you don't have that, it's going to be hard to really raise the level of energy with your football team, or the level of excitement to have that passion and that energy and that commitment. But as a player, as a leader, again, now's not the time for speeches and players only meetings or anything like that. Now's the time for action and energy, and that's what you got to have.
Lugs, this one from Jeff on X or Twitter. Is the Jaguars' offensive scheme stale? Some have said the Jags are running an outdated, old way of thinking scheme. Do you see more modern, innovative offenses from other teams? Just the general approach from what you're seeing out there, what do you make of it?
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the scheme that they have. I mean, if you end up just making some of those catches, it's a vastly different ball game, offensively. I mean, I think it's as good of an offense as you could have as far as schematically. I mean, could you have a little bit more commitment to the run game at times, and that's probably me nitpicking a little bit and being a little bit old school, sure. But as far as some of the concepts that you have, I mean, you're getting open receivers, you're getting an offense that's running the ball well, getting better up front. I don't have a problem with the offensive scheme at all.
All right, so what are your expectations? You saw Drake May. I don't know if you've seen any film on him yet, if you've watched it, but when I say saw, you see the results. He started slowly, but came on and threw 3 touchdowns in this game. So the way I've described it, I think it's a bigger advantage to him to have his sea legs under him than for the Jags to have a game's worth of film on him. How do you see that playing out on Sunday?
Well, I did watch the film, kind of jumped ahead early this week just because, being stuck in central London. And, the one thing is for certain about the Patriots is that Drake May is a young player that's very inexperienced, but he's got talent. He's got physical talent. He's got arm talent. And I think he's got the mental makeup. He seems to be able to make all the throws. He's athletic, but like most young players, his eyes drop a little bit. He looks to escape the pocket. And part of that is that the offensive line for the Patriots is not very good. They've had a lot of turmoil and change with that offensive line. 6 games they've played, and they've had 6 different starting offensive lineups. In fact, the center that they started in this past game against the Texans, Ben Brown, they acquired him last Thursday from the Las Vegas Raiders practice squad and then started him on a Sunday. How about that? So, and then they've had guys kind of mixing and matching at different positions. They're starting left tackle. Lowe went out last week with an ankle injury on the 12th play of the game. And then they slid a guy out there, and Zach Thomas, who got whooped. The right tackle in the ball game that started, which was Demontre Jacobs, got beat up. Those 2 outside guys for the Texans had pretty much a field day. So the Jaguars defense, they need to take advantage of that, and then to make a rookie look like a rookie with an offensive line that is just, I feel for him. If he's going to be starting behind that offensive line to go the rest of the way, God bless him. And I can tell you the Jaguars defensive front, if they have any performance that's short of dominant against the Patriots, then they should be, I don't want to say embarrassed, but they should be disappointed. And the Patriots defense, an okay group. I don't want to say they're bad, but they lack some premium talent. They've got a couple good players on the defense. I like Gonzalez. I like Mapu, 15, the safety. Man, he gets around the box. He's a tough son of a gun. So, I mean, they got some good players, but they're just kind of an average defense talent-wise. So I think this is a game you should win. I don't want to say that you will win, but you should win, especially if you're a team that had the expectation level of this team in the Jaguars.
All right, we're about to welcome in Helmets and Heels. So before we do, we'll say goodbye to you, Jeff, and thank you for your service today. Where else will we hear from you this week?
Well, Jaguars regular broadcasting, Jaguars Happy Hour, the Doug Peterson Show, and Jaguars All Access. We have an hour special this week from the Grove here in London.
All right, Logs, I'll talk to you on Sunday. And until then, whatever suggestions you have, pass them along, and let's get a W and hopefully have a Victory Tuesday to celebrate next week. But be safe, safe travels, and we'll see you when you get back to the States.
All right. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Dylan.
All right, there he goes, Jeff Lageman on the way out. Let's say hello to Helmets and Heels.
Now, the 2-minute drill brought to you by Injury Care Centers. Discover BioTarget Regenerative Therapy, a safer drug-free solution for lasting pain relief. Visit GoBioTarget.com.
All right, Lauren Brooks, how are you?
Oh, I'm fantastic.
I know. It's great. Right? People call the postgame. How you guys doing?
Right.
We're so great.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. This is one of the most beautiful days we've had in like 6
really
months
nice.
outside. We can't let the football team around here ruin it.
No, live your life, people, right? Like, and I hear people like, I can't take it anymore. It's like, you've lived through so many horrific seasons. I would think there would be a callus that's been built up at this point. I get it. Like, fans are disappointed because there were expectations. In the Gus Bradley era, you knew they stunk, and then they fulfilled that expectation, and you're like, yeah, well, okay. But now you're like, hey, we've won 9 games each of the last 2 years, and we thought this roster was better than what they're showing. So,
is there something in the water down here? Because as soon as they have some success, they cannot sustain it, and everything goes to heck in a handbasket.
Well, and one early mistake, Trevor talking about him can't be fragile. I mean, how fragile can you be if okay, you didn't get the touchdown, but you kicked the field goal, you took the lead, and your defense gave you the ball back on a 3-and-out. Here you go.
Right.
Let's go make some plays, and nothing. And, so they're not resilient. They're not responding. They're not bouncing back. And, I mean, we saw the Roy Robertson-Harris trade yesterday. Mm-hmm. If they lose to the Patriots, are you kidding me? I mean, outside of, like, the core guy, you're not trading. I've seen people saying they're going to try to get what they can for Josh Hines Allen and Trayvon Walker. No, they're not.
Definitely not.
Okay, they're not. There are, whether you believe this or not, every team in the National Football League has some good players on it. Every single one, including your Jaguars, right? They're just not collectively playing like a good unit now. I don't know why that is, whether you need a new coaching staff to get it out of them, whatever, but they're not trading Trevor Lawrence. They're not trading Josh Hines Allen. They're not trading Tyson Campbell. There's certain key elements that are going to be around here, but if you lose to the Patriots, if you're not one of those protected 10 or a dozen, I don't know what the number is, look out.
Wouldn't it have been so ironic if the Lions did call to inquire about Trayvon Walker after Aiden Hutchinson suffered the season-ending injury?
Yeah, great.
I'm not saying he would ditch him, but
we'll take your next 2 first-round picks.
It just would be ironic because of all the conversation surrounding those two guys.
Well, apparently Max Crosby was yelling at Mike Caldwell, of all people, trade me to Detroit this week during the game on the sideline. He kind of shoved him. He's like, it was a love shove. No, it was it was one of those deals, and he's from there. So, and now Hutchinson.
Right. I mean, I wouldn't want to play for the Raiders.
Is that Devontae Adams hamstringed his way out of that situation?
Yeah, I love that he's getting his physical now.
I mean, it's so freaking ridiculous.
Obviously, he's fine.
Yeah, the guy's made $3 million over the last 3 weeks just being a diva, just walking around doing nothing. Like, what a world.
How do I do that?
Exactly. I'm jealous. It's not that I'm angry. I'm just jealous. I want one of those do-nothing jobs.
Do you wish you were in the Grove right now?
Yeah, well, I don't know if I do or not. If
the team was winning, yes.
I tell you what, the salad bar at the Grove, unbelievable. Do you have to experience it? It was so good. when I was there. It was hard to describe how many great items that they had on that thing. But anyway, Grove is spectacular. They get treated first class. There's no excuse.
That's how you know it's gone horribly bad here is fans are just furious that they get to
They should be in a Fleabag motel or something,
they get to
right?
enjoy this week in between games. In this
But I
gorgeous
get it.
place.
Look, I mean, it's like if you're a fan of the Giants and Malik Neighbors goes to a Travis Scott concert when he has got a concussion and then he doesn't play that week, I'd be pissed.
Absolutely.
You know, like so all this. It's his life. He can go to a concert. He's in the concussion protocol, right? Like there. Sometimes you got to have a little bit more sense.
Yeah, I mean, I made the point that Trevor Lawrence and Christian Kirk went to the Bahamas right before the season started, like literally the weekend before the season started. We believe, Mike, because people like you and me who work in this business, once August hits, pretty much end of July through February, our social lives are over, right? Like we are fully committed. So that's how people feel that the players should be too, and coaches.
You and Brian and me and Heather will go to the Bahamas. Next weekend, or the bye week.
Yeah, the bye week.
And we'll bill Roy Robertson Harris for it. Have a great show.
Thank you so much. We'll talk Jags, of course, and then Rick Ballou joins us at 1:20 to talk Knowles.
All right. That'll be
getting
exciting.
better.
It just gets better and better and better. Lauren Brooks and the crew with the helmets and heels coming up next. Thank you, LB.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, Dylan, great job today. Pains me to say it, but you did a nice job. What can I tell you? Tony Smith with the day off. Maybe back tomorrow. I don't know. You know, Tony's on assignment. We will have Johnny O joining us from across the pond tomorrow. And, of course, for Jeff Lageman, I'm Mike Dempsey. Thanks for tuning in to a Check the Tape Tuesday. And thanks for continuing to have interest in your Jacksonville Jaguars. It's difficult at times. I understand. That'll do it for us today. Back again tomorrow from 10 to noon right here on 1010XL and 92.